From a fighter jet that's too fast in the air,
0 to 300 kilometers an hour in about 11 to 12 seconds.
to a racetrack that's the envy of the world.
The things you're not allowed to do on the road, you can do it here.
This is Megaworld, Germany. Guten Tag and welcome to Megaworld, Germany. I'm Kevin Brosh and I'm here to show you some of the truly amazing engineering feats that we've uncovered here in Germany. What better place to get on track than right here at Berlin's new Central Railway Station. As impressive as this place is, it actually took over 10 years to plan and build. 10 years is a lot of time, and time is something that the crew resurfacing Frankfurt Airport's runway don't have. This you have to see to believe. Like road warriors, these construction workers are lining up for battle. When the signal comes, it begins. Their battle is against time. Between the takeoff of this plane tonight and the touchdown of this one, 8 hours away, this giant crew must rebuild the Frankfurt Airport runway.
We are able to do a very unusual construction project, which is termed basically as being the fastest construction project in the world.
Frankfurt Airport is one of the world's 10 busiest airports. 1,400 flights pass through here each day, bringing and sending millions of passengers. It's a busy airport, but it's not a very big one.
We only have 3 runways here. We're operating basically at peak capacity.
A plane lands on runway south every 3 minutes, and it's badly in need of repairs.
Some parts of the runway system were upwards of 35 years old. They were damaged. Patching up the runway was no longer an option.
So at 10 p.m., they close one of 3 runways. Then, this crew of 70 get the go-ahead to rip up the runway. Bernhard is one of the senior site managers.
My task is to make sure that everything here at the construction site runs smoothly, that everything's in the right place at the right time, and that everything's finished by 6 o'clock tomorrow morning.
The runway is 4,000 meters long. To reconstruct it, they break it up into sections, every 15 meters by 16 meters. This is exactly the amount of runway they can manage in one night.
This has never been done anywhere else in the world. We were the first to develop this pioneering project.
One of the first steps is to remove all the asphalt. They take it right down to the ground. Everything is planned down to the second. The trucks leaving here are not just dumping material, they're also picking up new filler and asphalt.
If the material doesn't arrive, if the paint isn't here on time, or if the asphalt's missing, and it takes time for the asphalt to be delivered, that's when I'm afraid that we won't be done on time. It's about time you came. I've been looking at my watch.
This plane needs to land on this very surface in less than 6 hours. And half of its passengers need to catch connecting flights.
Time is money, and we pride ourselves here at Frankfurt Airport in being the most punctual hub in all of Europe.
As soon as the area is cleaned out, the dump trucks arrive to start filling it back up again.
It's really what I call a heavy metal orchestra, everybody working in harmony.
But this is what is critical to making the runway in a night. Asphalt.
It's important that we reach a surface temperature of 85 degrees upon initial operation tomorrow morning.
The asphalt has to be cool and hard enough to take the pounding from over 400 tons of plane at 6 a.m. It's not your everyday pavement. It's a mix specially designed for this project.
This asphalt, which is a low-temperature asphalt, which as opposed to regular temperature asphalt, has a temperature between 125 and 135 degrees Celsius installation temperature.
Regular asphalt is heated to 160 degrees for road repairs. But this asphalt has wax mixed in it. It keeps the temperature down, makes it easy to work with, and drastically shortens its cooling time. It's stored 10 kilometers away.
There are 3 possible routes to get here, which ensures that we have alternatives in the event of an accident or some other obstacle.
Tonight, it looks like all of Bernhard's planning is paying off. In what seems like the blink of an eye, the crew is on its final stage.
It's 10 past 4. Excellent time. We are totally on schedule. Great.
In just 7 hours, the crew here has removed the original asphalt, poured in fill, put 3 layers of asphalt down, installed runway lights, they even painted the lines. Now they must clean up every pebble of debris so it's safe for the jet that's on its final approach. It will take 300 nights of this to refinish the entire runway.
Good.
It's just before 6, we're done. They're just cleaning up. It went great tonight. I'm going home to bed.
And as the first flight touches down, its sleepy passengers probably don't know that they just arrived on a runway that was built in a night. From the largest airport in Germany back to its biggest train station. When you look around this place, you realize what a mega-sized project this really is. 14 different railway tracks, all entering and leaving one building right here in the heart of central Berlin. Now, if you think these tracks are impressive, wait till you see the track in our next story, because that's pretty special too. It's a racetrack, which is the ultimate in thrill seekers' nirvana. A day at the track, but not just any track. This is the Nürburgring. It's a motorsport icon dating back to the 1920s, the oldest racetrack in Germany. And for many fans and drivers, it's simply the greatest track ever built.
It's the longest, it's many curves, it's the hardest, and many fun.
Hermann Tilke agrees. But for him, the Nürburgring is something even more. It's the inspiration for a unique career. You see, he's the world's top designer of racing circuits.
The track has to be challenging for the drivers, has to be exciting for the spectators.
An architect and an engineer, Tilke builds modern racetracks all over the world. But wherever he goes, it's the one in his own backyard, the one he didn't build, that inspires his designs.
You might see here the elevation. The elevation is very hard. You normally not find in a racetrack. Ups and downs, and some parts are very narrow. So it's really the most difficult track in the world.
Named for Nürburgring Castle that towers above the circuit, the Nürburgring carves a long, twisting path through the forest. So torturous is the drive that British champion Jackie Stewart dubbed it the Green Hell. In 1976, it became a fiery hell for Niki Lauda. Lauda survived the crash, but Formula One cars would never again race on the oldest, most dangerous part of the track, known as the Nordschleife. Machines with slightly less horsepower, like these touring cars, can still take their chances.
I think it's a completely different thing to go high speed on the highway and to go high speed, look, there's an accident, bam.
The danger makes for exciting viewing, but what fans here really love is taking on the ring themselves. That's right, when the professional drivers call it a day, this track doesn't close. Instead, it actually opens to the public. For 16 euros a lap, anyone can drive any vehicle at any speed.
Things you're not allowed to do on the road, you can do it here.
So many turns, so many corners, you just can't remember where you're going.
It's really fun.
Fun, but dangerous. Someone dies here almost every week. In his Lamborghini V10, Hermann doesn't seem too worried.
When I started to drive here, I had a big respect for the track.
Supremely calm, he hits 300 kilometers an hour on the world's most difficult and dangerous track.
One lap, the famous Nürburgring Nordschleife.
The smile tells you how much fun he's having. But for Herman, it's more than fun, it's field research. And this is where he applies the research. Tilke Engineering. Over the past few years, he and business partner Peter Wall have designed new Formula One tracks in places like Malaysia, Bahrain, and China.
This is a Formula One track in Shanghai. The cars coming in the corner with high speed, 320 kilometers per hour. The first step is to travel to the land and to look to the topography, to look to the main wind direction where the sun is standing.
Once they understand the geography of a site, they plot the track layout using software tools and topographical maps. Their main goal, to create the most challenging track possible. One where the smallest driving error can make the difference between winning and losing.
If a driver makes a mistake, a small mistake, the other driver who follows up, who makes not this mistake, he can overtake. This makes it exciting races.
But how do you do that? What's the secret ingredient for a challenging track? Well, it's something Tilke discovered long ago at the Nürburgring. Besides plenty of corners, what a great track needs most is plenty of ups and downs.
It's very important to have some elevations, to have the third dimension. The corner goes over the hill, and it's completely different, because when you go over the hill, the car will be light. And this is very difficult to drive this very fast.
The upward inertia of a fast car actually makes it lighter as it crests a hill. That can cause a loss of steering control.
In Istanbul, very hilly countryside.
And that's just what they've done in their latest big project, a new F1 track in Turkey.
And here is a very special corner.
We tried to find some features similar to the Nordschleife within Turkey, and I think we got it.
They use string to mark potential racing lines on one hilly section of the circuit.
For me, it should be more like this, coming from up here, going straight down and up the hill, something like this.
Also, I think this is a good solution. This is very challenging because we have a really slope here. It's going over the hill, and then the car will be light. Will be not flying, but close before flying.
And this part has something of the green hell at the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife. This makes it perfect.
With the Istanbul track winning rave reviews from drivers and fans, Tilke and his team now have their sights set on Mexico. There are plans for an F1 track in Cancun. And so, the old Nürburgring may inspire yet another new design, this time in the New World. Oh, check this thing out. Okay, we're here at the Gatow Air Museum, and this baby right here is truly an impressive piece of aviation engineering. This, my friends, is a Tornado fighter jet, and the concept for this plane was born back in the late 60s, but right from the get-go, making this plane was all about making a faster flying machine. Truth be told, things haven't changed all that much. The need for speed still rules the skies today, especially when it comes to fighter jets. The challenge, though, is not making these things go faster, it's trying to slow them down.
Extraordinary power and agility. A huge wing that gives us maneuverability. Accelerating from 0 to 300 kilometers an hour in about 11 to 12 seconds.
It's the Eurofighter, a supersonic jet roaring through the skies over Germany, England, Italy, and Spain. The four nations have combined their engineering know-how to develop what many say is the world's best combat plane.
We have a DA-5 Eurofighter test flight this morning.
At an airfield north of Munich, test pilot Chris Warning gets his morning briefing. He's flown many modern fighters, but he says nothing, not the F-16, nor even the F-18, comes close to the Eurofighter.
This airplane is hundreds of % better in the supersonic regime, and that is really where modern air combat is going, because you want to give your weapons reach. And you can do that by giving them energy, so you fly fast and high.
With a top speed of Mach 2, the Eurofighter is certainly fast. In fact, today's test flight is all about trying to slow the jet down.
We got a big air brake up on the back of the airplane, which you can extend, but it's not enough. So we've come up with a trick to extend the lips under the intakes. They're actually there to vary the airflow, particularly at supersonic speed, but we actually now also use them for braking.
The new braking technique works fine, but it changes how air flows around the fuselage. And that's affecting important sensor readings. The test flight should help fix the problem.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. See you all later.
While Chris Warning makes his final preparations, the final assembly of new fighters is being carried out at a nearby hangar.
It's like building a car in the car industry. Every 16 working days, we are pushing the aircraft from one station to the next station. We will receive the right-hand wing from Spain and the left-hand wing from Italy.
A truly international effort. Wolfgang Gammel manages this part of the assembly line. His boss, Erwin Obermeier, runs the whole show. They call him Mr. Eurofighter.
The capability of a fighter aircraft is determined by the agility of the aircraft. So that means high turn rate, very fast speed, undetectable, high altitude, high thrust to weight ratio.
The key to the jet's agility is its signature design feature. Most planes have a horizontal stabilizer as part of the tail section, but not the Eurofighter. Instead, it has what they call a foreplane.
It is actually a small wing, and this small wing produces extra lift, and this extra lift shifts the neutral point of the airplane to the far end of the aircraft, so it pitches up.
The fighter can change directions much more quickly, while at the same time producing less drag. Simply put, it's damn quick.
You're moving over 1,000 kilometers an hour at a few feet off the ground. That is really exciting.
But for the pilot, all that speed and turning ability translates into massive G-forces on the body. During today's test flight, Chris Warning will have to withstand up to 9 times Earth's gravity.
There the pilot needs protection, he needs help.
He gets that help from a G-suit.
When the aircraft is turning very hard, or we're pulling G's as we say, the suit is inflated with air. And when it inflates, it prevents the blood from pooling down the legs.
At the same time, he needs to have oxygen pressed into his lungs through his mask.
But that would be dangerous if I didn't have on this vest.
The vest also inflates to keep his lungs from rupturing.
Without this, I would not be able to stay conscious when the airplane is turning.
He's now ready for the test flight. A flight that will focus on these sensors.
They measure the side slip angle, they measure the angle of attack of the airplane, all the air data the airplane needs. But because they're out here in front of the engine intakes, there's a huge amount of air rushing past here, also depending on where the engines are. And what we're doing now is we're moving these to stop the airplane. So we're opening them to brake the airplane. That changes the airflow in front of the airplane. And that's why we have to recalibrate the information that comes through those sensors.
Warning's task is to precisely navigate a set flight path that will push the fighter to its limits.
What we're looking for, that I fly the point as accurate as possible, so that the scientists can measure as accurate as possible, so that the information that the air data sensors are delivering are always accurate.
A team of engineers monitors the plane and its sensors. An hour later, and the test is done. Both Chris and his ground crew are happy with the results. The job of fine-tuning the airflow sensors can now go ahead.
The points were hit, so we've got the data that we need. That was the important part.
Chris walks away knowing he's helped make one of the world's best fighter jets just a little bit better. So I'm standing here in front of one of Berlin's most famous landmarks, the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church. As you can see, this beautiful building was bombed out pretty heavily during World War II. This is all that remains, a very real example of how destructive wars can be. You know, wars can be destructive long after the fighting stops, with landmines being the biggest culprit. Well, there's an inventor here in Germany, and you should see the mega machine he has built to change that. You wouldn't know it, but Christoph Frese is helping save lives. In former war zones where the shooting has stopped, but the killing hasn't, thanks to these.
An anti-tank mine, as it says, against tanks or any other vehicles. A small anti-personnel mine with a pressure plate. A fragmentation mine, the whole thing like a hand grenade explodes.
Though he knows his landmines, Christoph is not a soldier.
Every 15 minutes, somebody in the world steps on a mine.
He's a business grad who helped invent this mechanical beast.
A mine wolf is basically a mechanical demining machine penetrating the ground up to 30 centimeters and thereby destroying all landmines.
The Balkans War, right on Germany's doorstep, left some 3 million landmines buried in the ground. So many that peacekeepers are still clearing them.
So the old-fashioned way is to do it manual. This was very time-consuming, and they quickly realized if they want to tackle with this problem, they have to find a mechanical solution.
Enter the Mine Wolf. Frese teamed up with a German manufacturer of forestry machines, rugged bulldozers used to clear stumps and trees.
Basic material are the same. The way of manufacturing is nearly the same. So for us, there is no big difference.
But even the toughest bulldozer can't make it through a minefield. The Mine Wolf would need something extra.
This machine might just look like a bulldozer, but certainly much more technology and innovation is involved. Driving it actually feels quite like you're driving a bulldozer. But certainly the difference is where normally the dozer blade would be, we have our tiller attachment. This is the key technology of Mine Wolf. This open tiller basket allows to continuously penetrate the ground 30 centimeters deep and thereby activate all mines, the big ones, but also small anti-personnel mines like these. Because the tiller rotates in that speed that even the smallest pieces of this size would be hit and destroyed.
The steel hammers are arranged in a pattern that ensures every 4 square centimeters of ground gets completely pummeled. But oddly, the most important part of the design is empty space. The space between the tiller bars.
The basic concept of this tiller is that it is a so-called open basket design. That means it has a stable structure in itself, can activate the mine, but gives space for the pressure wave and the air to basically go through.
When a heavy tank tread or a tire activates a mine, the destructive force is concentrated in one spot. The Mine Wolf's open tiller dissipates that force, making it less destructive. The concept was put to the test by the German army.
So what we basically did was driving over live anti-tank mines.
The test showed that the largest mines did do some damage. But overall, the clearing results were good. The Mine Wolf won the Army's seal of approval.
It's very important that you have a reliable test record, because actually you're going to make people operating it. So you want to be 100% sure that there's no actual risk for the operator.
The driver is protected behind concussion-proof glass inside a steel-reinforced cab. Though forward motion may seem slow, the Mine Wolf is actually a fast way of removing the threat of mines.
So a manual deminer with a metal detector can maximum do 16 to maybe 25 square meters per day, whereas we are able to do 20 to 30,000 square meters a day.
With 2 machines now operating in the Balkans and 1 in Sudan, the Mine Wolf has cleared over 4 million square meters since 2003. But clearing land doesn't always involve blowing up mines. Sometimes eliminating the fear of potential landmines is just as important.
Yeah, so imagine yourself being in the mine-affected countries. This scenery would not happen because you have to take into account that maybe this whole area might be mined. When you bring in the machine on the field and you show the people that you drove over it, they get confidence again, and then they are happy also to use the land.
Despite his success so far, Freze knows there's a long road ahead of him. An estimated 60 million landmines lurk underground in former war zones around the world.
The dream would be to provide every mine-affected country worldwide with at least 2-3 systems so they can really tackle the problem fast.
With 2 more machines ready for shipment to Sudan and more orders on the way, the Mine Wolf dream is very much alive. You know, it's almost impossible to think of mega-sized engineering projects here in Germany and not want to come and visit the port city of Hamburg. As you can see behind me, these guys do shipping on a massive scale. It should come as no surprise that they also have some pretty specialized facilities to aid in their shipping needs. For instance, down below me in the port, they have a bathtub large enough to fit the Queen Mary II. Okay, so it's not really a bathtub, but you'll see what I mean in a sec. Every year in Germany, they throw a party not to be missed. People turn up for the food, the beer, and the festivities. No, this is not Oktoberfest. This is a party to celebrate the birthday of the Port of Hamburg. Today, she's 817. The citizens of Hamburg are understandably proud of their port city. It's even inspired this couple to sing the Hamburg anthem.
Stadt Hamburg an der Elbe auen, wie bist du stattlich anzuschauen, mit deiner Türme Hochgestalt und deiner Schiffe im Mastenwald.
To mark its rich naval history, ships from all over the world come to parade down the Elbe River. More than 1 million usually attend, but today that number is expected to double because a special guest is on its way, the Queen Mary II.
This is a fantastic ship. It's the best seakeeping ship that in 40 years of being at sea I've ever been on. And the facilities here on board the ship for our passengers are second to none.
The Queen Mary II is one of the biggest and most luxurious cruise liners in the world. At high tide tonight, she's coming to Hamburg's Blohm & Voss shipyards for repairs.
It's only at high water that this ship will be able to get into this dock.
She's here to have one of her port propellers repaired. It was damaged when it hit something underwater.
The problem was that with damage to that particular propeller, instead of making 29.5 knots, which is our service speed and the top speed of the ship, she can make just about 26 knots.
But getting her in to fix it won't be easy. There are very few shipyards in the world that can handle something this size. The Queen Mary II needs 10 meters of water, about 34 feet, to float.
We arrived about an hour before high water. We have to wait for the water level to be the right height. And then they can take away what we call the cassoon, which is the barrier across the front of the dry dock.
They've come here to Hamburg because this is one of the few places in the world that has a graving dock.
It's a big bathtub. The capacity and the volume of water which is in the dock is about 240,000 cubic meters.
In this big bathtub are blocks that will be used to prop up the Queen's hull. She needs to move in very precisely, so she sits right on top of them. Once she's in position, they'll close the gate behind her and pump out all the water to expose her hull. It's a nerve-wracking affair moving this behemoth into place. There's very little water between the bottom of the Queen Mary's hull and the blocks she must clear.
We had a prediction this morning that a normal high tide would be less 40 centimeters. So we had luck that we have now less only 30 centimeters, and the clearance between the keel and our dock blocks was about 15 to 18 centimeters.
It turns out easterly winds are blowing water out of the dock. There's less than 20 centimeters between the hull of this ship and the blocks below. No room for error. The Queen Mary II, who's too wide to fit through the Panama Canal, must stay centered. If she sways off course, she risks smashing into the blocks. To help guide her, lines are attached to both sides.
There are 7 meters on each side of the ship in the actual dock, and the actual bow of the ship, or the bulb as we call it, is about 2 meters from the dock wall, so there's not a lot of space.
We were 2 people who were nervous. It was my dock master and myself, but we kept it to ourselves.
Despite the challenges, this big queen moves in without a hitch. And the city of Hamburg celebrates her arrival.
It worked, and you see that was a marvelous receiving of Queen Mary II with fireworks at the very end. Everything worked perfect.
The next day, the dock is dry. Overnight, 3 pumps cleared out all the water, all 180,000 tons of it. And the job of removing Queen Mary's prop has begun.
This ship has 4 engines hanging under the stern. These are electrical motors which are in the water, which is a propeller fitted on. And one of these gondolas is damaged. And this gondola has a weight of 270 tons, which has to be removed. The propeller is already off. It was removed by divers, the blades. And now we take this gondola down, take it to the workshop, dismantle it.
It will take a couple of weeks to get her back in working order, but before long, all 60,000 tons of this vessel will be cruising back down the Elbe River, much to the delight of the ship-loving crowds in Hamburg. You know, each and every day, nearly 5,000 giant steel containers get either picked up or dropped off here in the port city of Hamburg. 5,000 of these big steel things. It's almost mind-boggling. You'd think there'd be hundreds of people running around, moving containers here, sorting them there. But no, guess again, the future is here. Hamburg Port. It's one of the busiest sea hubs in the world. Ships line up to get cargo off their back. This ship is unloading 9,000 containers. It will take days. But amazingly, only one person will actually do any lifting. This is the world's most automated port. Here, intelligent machines rule. The only guy unloading this ship is hanging 65 meters above it.
My name is Bernd Reddick. I operate the crane, the gantry crane, to load and discharge sea ships or feeder ships.
Bernard begins the unloading process. And some distance behind him, a truck driver waits for his cargo. But everything in between is controlled by smart machines. Now, it wasn't always like this. A century ago, merchants used these canals to deliver cargo. Men hoisted these goods into buildings. It was back-breaking, dangerous work. What took 10 men a day to complete, now it takes just minutes. 44 cranes glide back and forth in orchestrated moves. Computers are guiding them.
So it's knowledge about the cargo, which is entered into our control systems, and the control systems are intelligent enough to make use out of the data and to have an intelligent stacking and flow pattern on the terminal.
It starts here. These numbers tell the computer what's in each container and where it's going. It lets Bernard know what containers he should reach in and unload. Bernard's job is not automated because it's too unpredictable. He has to fight the constant rocking of the ship, and high winds can also wreak havoc.
It's a little bit windy today, so it's not so easy.
Today, it's making Bernard really work for his pay. But he's getting some help from his intelligent friends. A computer and several cameras give him a virtual view of everything outside his cage.
I have a screen here above, and there I can see the computer trolley. I have also a screen there, and there I see the AGVs.
Once the container is in his steely grip, he moves it to the loading area. This is where his robotic colleagues take over. Bernard has to work at their speed. If he doesn't, he could crash his cargo.
If you make a damage there, you have a meeting by your boss without tea and without cookies.
Automated cranes drop each container onto an AGV, otherwise known as an automated guided vehicle. This driverless truck has to navigate through a maze of containers the size of 120 football fields. GPS and hundreds of small transponders in the ground help to guide it to its drop-off site. Here, another smart crane grabs the container and stacks it.
Our way of stacking containers, as you see it in the stacking area, is very dense and high. And to do so, you need to have types of machine which run very precise.
These machines can stack containers 4 and 5 high. Human-operated machines can only safely stack 3. Automated stacking is good for ports like Hamburg, where space is limited. It's also good for safety.
Safety is a big issue, of course, because port labor is dangerous. It also has the security in terms of cargo security, because there's no random access or no uncontrolled access to the cargo.
This place is off limits to humans. If anyone goes in here, an alarm will sound. It's just as well because there's a lot going on and you wouldn't want to get in the way. With a swipe of a card, another truck driver has just sent the cranes in search of his cargo.
It's a new system, so we have sometimes problems with it, but it works.
So long as Bernard can keep up with his automated helpers. It looks as though it's going to be a very busy day at the world's most automated port. Well, we couldn't come all the way to Germany and do a show called Megaworld and not mention the most popular car company in all of Europe. Of course, I'm talking about Volkswagen, makers of this beauty, the original Volkswagen Bug. Oh, what a timeless classic. You know, the company continues to make waves in the automotive industry by taking our idea of what a car factory should be and turning it upside down. Or maybe I should say, inside out. Paul and Brigitte Vitalios could be entering Germany's newest art gallery. Or maybe it's a concert hall. Or a really upscale hotel. Well, think again. They're here to buy a car. They've come to one of the most innovative manufacturing facilities in the world. It's in the heart of downtown Dresden, a city best known for its historic buildings. But that's changing thanks to Volkswagen's new transparent factory.
As the name Transparent Factory says, it's transparent. You can see everything here in the transparent factory.
Part assembly plant, part museum, it's the only factory in the world where you can peer through glass walls and see cars being made right before your eyes. Instead of concrete, the floors are Canadian maple. Instead of dark overalls, all the workers wear white, right down to their fingertips. And everywhere you look, there's glass, glass, and more glass. It's all meant to symbolize the high-quality, high-end vehicle they produce here, a luxury car called the Phaeton. But selling the people of Dresden on the idea of a downtown factory required some creative thinking.
So they expected like big traffic, pollution and noise. And what we now have is a very quiet place and with almost no traffic because all our parts we're getting with a cargo tram.
The VW cargo trams share streetcar tracks with the city's public transit vehicles. They deliver auto parts directly to the factory. Inside, the parts are sorted into containers. A robotic sled then drives each container through the assembly hall, up and down elevators, finally parking beside one specific car body. The robots find their way with the help of a special magnetic guidance system.
So this driverless transportation system is orientating by over 60,000 magnets embedded in the floor like a road map.
With the correct parts at hand, the assembly team's set to work. And while they work, they're gently put into motion. The entire production line sits on a wide conveyor belt built into the floor. It moves ever so slowly in a big loop around the factory. The floor also delivers power for tools and computer systems.
This portable workstation is getting the energy by induction from the floor, and it runs this computer system. So this computer tracks every screw for safety relevant systems like the airbag system.
These intelligent tools actually register when a specific bolt or screw is fitted. That way, the computer knows when each car is ready for the next assembly stage.
One screw is missing, and then this car's ready.
After one complete lap on the floor conveyor, the cars begin a second tour of the factory, this time suspended from on high.
And the suspended conveyor is a system which was developed with the University of Dresden to move the cars and, of course, to get the cars in different positions. So we can change the angles and the height of the cars for each worker to have the best position for him to do his working steps individually on his car.
With the electric car lifter, I can adjust it so I can work at any angle. For example, I can work underneath the floor panel here to do things like plug in these air hoses.
The chassis seem to float overhead, as if performing some sort of bizarre automotive ballet. To enjoy the show, tourists are invited right into the assembly area.
When I came here, joining this working here in the transplant factory, whatever I did was visible for everybody. But you get used to this. It's kind of 2-3 weeks, and it's kind of normal.
Customers get the best view of all right on the production line. Paul and Brigitte are here to see the most crucial stage. A robotic sled moves the drivetrain into position. It then gets bolted to the chassis. It's sort of like some James Bond version of the future come to life. Some customers go even further and actually help build their new ride.
One time I had some women from Saudi Arabia, and they were really like doing all the screws, and they didn't want to stop.
At the end of the line, the newly minted Phaetons go through a series of quality control checks.
Here we are now on the final check. This is the light tunnel. Here we are checking the lacquer, and we are checking for scratches and for small imperfections. And you see here we have different lights. We want to simulate with this light every light what you find also in nature.
After a final buff and polish, it's off to the storage silo, yet another unique feature of the transparent factory. Each new car will wait here for its new owner. Unless, of course, the new owner is already waiting for his or her new Phaeton. In that case, there's only one thing left to do. Okay, I know what you're thinking. They didn't let me drive the Phaeton. No worries. This Volkswagen Bug, this is just fine by me. And for Megaworld Germany, well, hey, guess what? We're done. It's a wrap. I hope you've enjoyed some of the stories we've brought you from Germany, some of the awesome projects going on here that help make this country such an engineering powerhouse. As for me, well, I'm out of here. From Berlin's Brandenburg Gate, I'm Kevin Brosh. Tschüss. See you next time. I'm out of here. Auf Wiedersehen from Berlin's Brandenburg Gate. Tschüss. Gotta take the emerge off. Nice. Not so nice. Stalled, and we have 2 taxis in front of me. I can't go anywhere. Come on, Brosh. Get her in gear. I really gotta take some driving lessons. Really. I'm just gonna go backwards. I'm just gonna go in reverse. Bye. Have a good day. Get out of here. Show's over.